France intercepted a sanctioned Russian oil tanker in the Atlantic on Sunday with the support of allies, including the UK. French President Emmanuel Macron has said the French Navy boarded the Tagore, which maritime authorities said had been flying a false flag when it was detained around 400 nautical miles west of Brittany in international waters.
United States President Donald Trump says he is close to achieving a very good deal with Iran, but Washington and Tehran have been engaged in a new exchange of fire, dimming hopes of finalizing a deal to end the war. Late on Sunday, in a post on X, the US military Central Command CENTCOM said it struck Iranian military sites over the weekend, and on Monday, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, said it retaliated by targeting a US base in the Gulf region.
Ethiopians have begun voting in parliamentary and regional elections, with Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's party projected to win by a landslide, despite significant unrest in much of the country. More than 50 million people are registered to vote on Monday. However, polling will not take place in the northern Tigray region, where the National Election Board of Ethiopia, NEBE, has cited unfavourable conditions following a 2020 to 2022 civil war and continuing political turmoil. The French Navy, with support from the United Kingdom, has intercepted an oil tanker suspected of being part of Russia's sanctions-busting shadow fleet. French President Emmanuel Macron announced the interception in a post on X on Monday, saying the Tagore was boarded on Sunday in the Atlantic.
The Israeli military has captured Lebanon's Beaufort Castle, a medieval hilltop fortress in the country's south, amid an expanded military offensive against the Lebanese armed group Hezbollah. The capture, announced on Sunday, comes amid fighting despite a ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon, which Israel has repeatedly violated.
Muharram al-Haram 1448 AA is likely to begin in Pakistan on June 17, according to projections released by the Ru'et-e-Hilal Research Council based on astronomical calculations. The Council's Secretary-General Khalid Ijaz Mufti said the new moon is expected to be born at 7:54 a.m. Pakistan Standard Time on June 15th. However, he noted that the crescent's age at sunset on the same day would be less than 12 hours across the country, making its sighting highly unlikely. Electric bus operations on several routes in Karachi have been partially affected after a technical fault disrupted power supply at a charging station used by the fleet.
According to the administration of the People's Bus Service, electricity has remained unavailable at the Mehran depot for the past 3 days due to a technical issue. As a temporary arrangement, hybrid buses have been deployed on routes normally served by electric vehicles.
According to the Met Office, a westerly wave is likely to approach upper parts of the country on 2nd June and likely to persist till 5th June under the influence of this weather system. Saudi Arabia began issuing Umrah visas for the new Umrah season on May 31, marking the start of preparations for the 1448 AH season after the conclusion of this year's Hajj. The Ministry of Hajj and Umrah said visa issuance and the arrival of international pilgrims for the new Umrah season would begin on May 31 and continue until March 23, 2027. Federal Minister for Planning Ahsan Iqbal has said Pakistan must substantially increase exports and address rapid population growth if it wants to achieve sustainable economic development and improve foreign exchange reserves. During the annual Plan Coordination Committee meeting, the minister said Pakistan's its export sector and expanding foreign exchange earnings.
Israel's Attorney General warned on Monday of the country's democratic backsliding under Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government, specifically regarding the judiciary's independence and the executive's disregard for court rulings. Gali Baharav Miara, who also serves as the government's legal advisor, has clashed with Netanyahu's government since it took office in late 2022. DPP chairperson Bilawal Bhutto Zardari said on Monday that any possible constitutional amendment should provide protection to the rights of Gilgit-Baltistan, GB. If any constitutional amendment has to be made anywhere, it is very important that the rights of GB are protected under it, he said while addressing a rally in GB's Shigar, while addressing a public gathering ahead of June 7 elections in the region.
In 2018, Pakistan produced the widest survey in its history on how much nutrition its people were getting. The NNS, or National Nutrition Survey, was the fifth such epic exercise to be undertaken since 1965 and the first ever to show us the numbers from the districts. It was the most comprehensive data-gathering effort in Pakistan's history and is regularly cited today in policymaking. The NNS results painted such an alarming picture at the time that the government should have declared a national emergency. Instead, I find myself writing this 7 years on with a question as Finance Minister Mohammad Aurangzeb tables an estimated Rs 17.1 trillion federal budget for fiscal year 2026-27. What did Pakistan's budget makers do with the population nutrition evidence?
Israel's Prime Minister has ordered attacks on the southern suburbs of Lebanon's capital, Beirut, as the conflict with the Iran-backed armed group Hezbollah continues to escalate. Benjamin Netanyahu said terrorist targets in the Hezbollah stronghold of Dahi would be struck in response to attacks on Israeli civilians and other violations of a US-aid brokered ceasefire announced in April that has failed to end the fighting. The French Navy has intercepted a sanctioned oil tanker that had sailed from a Russian port, the third known seizure in recent months. The ship, the Tagore, was seized in the Atlantic in international waters with the support of several partners, including the United Kingdom, in strict compliance with the law of the sea. French President Emmanuel Macron posted on X Monday.
A new set of laws will come into play during the World Cup. The international self-regulatory body for football has announced weeks before the tournament starts on June 11. The International Football Association Board, IFAB, revealed on Sunday a number of changes to the laws of the game that will be applied from the 2026-2027 season onwards, as well as at the World Cup.
As SpaceX counts down to what could be the largest IPO in history, the race to build the next generation of launch vehicles is heating up. Asia wants in. Startups across Australia, India, Japan, and South Korea are racing to establish themselves in a market long dominated by the US and China. One of them is Unistella, a 4-year-old South Korean startup that just closed a $24 million Series B, bringing its total funding to $44 million. The company launched its own rocket, the Una Express I, from South Korean soil in May 2025. AMD has introduced the Radeon RX 9070 G, a new graphics card based on the company J4 GPU architecture. The card comes with 12 gigabytes of VRAM and launches at $549. It is part of AMD's Radeon RX 9000 series lineup. Karachi police are investigating claims that Anmol alias Pinky's alleged drug network used popular snack packets to smuggle and deliver cocaine across the city. Anmol Pinky was arrested earlier this month from her garden apartment in a joint raid carried out by police and a civilian intelligence agency. The case involves alleged possession of narcotics and an unlicensed weapon.
Edifier has introduced a new version of its Hecate G3 Max gaming headset in China. The new model, called the Hecate G3 Max Base Edition, adds a dedicated multifunctional charging dock. The G3 Max Base Edition builds on the standard Hecate G3 Max, which launched earlier this year. Most of the core hardware remains the same, but the main upgrade is Edifier's new RGB 3-in-1 all-in-one base.
Dubai police have arrested 4 suspects after busting a gang accused of using a fake royal protocol scheme to steal rare oud worth AED 12 million. According to details, a woman posing as a princess along with 7 accomplices allegedly tricked an oud trader into handing over the high-value consignment before disappearing with it. The stolen oud, valued at over 910 million, the stolen 10 million was later recovered by police. Polls have opened in Ethiopia's general election as conflict rages in parts of the country, meaning many people will not be able to vote. In fact, the whole northern region of Tigray, which has been trying to recover from a brutal civil war that ended in 2022, has been totally excluded from the poll.
Iran has damaged 20 US military sites since the start of the war, satellite images and videos analysed by BBC Verify show, suggesting the attacks are more extensive than publicly acknowledged. Iran has targeted key facilities across 8 countries in the Middle East since the end of February, causing millions of dollars of damage to state-of-the-art air defence systems, refuelling aircraft and radars. 4 nurses who were being treated for Ebola caused by the Bundibugyo strain of the virus have been discharged from a hospital in Bunia in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. After recovering from the disease, the World Health Organization, said on Sunday. More recoveries are expected, especially when people are diagnosed early and able to access care, and as the response to the outbreak intensifies.
Washington has put forward a proposal to de-escalate hostilities in Lebanon, a United States official has told Al Jazeera, adding that Secretary of State Marco Rubio has held separate talks with Lebanese President Joseph Aoun and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The statement was made after Israel's military took over the Medville Beaufort Castle just north of the Litani River in southern Lebanon, as it conducts its deepest push into the country in decades.
US political commentators Cenk Uygur and Hassan Piker say they had been barred from entering the United Kingdom, and British authorities cited their public comments about Israel as the reason for the decision. United States-based online political news and commentary network said he learned of the restriction while trying to board a flight to London, where he was scheduled to attend the SXSW London Festival, Oxfam Festival, and deliver a speech at Oxford University. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, says it launched a retaliatory strike on a base used by US forces that it claims was used for an attack on an Iranian communications tower, with Kuwait saying it intercepted air attacks. Following the aggression of the US Army on a communication tower on Sirik Island in Hormozgan province an hour ago, the IRGC Aerospace Force fighters targeted the airbase where the aggression originated, and the predicted targets were destroyed, the IRGC said in a statement cited by the semi-official Fars news agency on Monday.
The National Accountability Bureau, NAB, has launched an inquiry into the alleged illegal issuance of No Objection Certificates, NOCs, by the Sin Building Control Authority, SBCA, for marriage halls and marquees, as well as the construction of commercial buildings on amenity plots in Karachi. Acting on complaints, NAB has sought a detailed report from the SBCA on alleged violations, financial losses to the National Exchequer, and reasons for the authority's failure to act against unauthorised constructions. The Punjab Education, Curriculum, Training and Assessment Authority, SPECT-A, has started the registration process for Grade 8 students appearing in the annual examination 2026-27 through its Item Bank system, IBS. According to an official notification issued by PKR, all public schools are registration of being directed to complete the registrations of Grade 8 students using their official school login credentials on the IBS portal.